Dear children, in this session we are starting with the new unit, that is relations and functions. Okay, you have come across this topic earlier also in class 11th. You know how the term relation is defined. It is taken from English language itself and has got the same meaning you must have seen in class 11th. In order to define relation mathematically, we have to see some connection between two elements through which they can be related. Okay, so this year we will be discussing various types of relations. The first one you can see is an empty relation. As the name suggests, obviously if it is an empty relation, then it must be denoting a null set. Okay, let us see how it is defined. It says a relation R in a set A. When we say a relation R in a set A, that means we are establishing a relation between the elements of A with the elements of A only. So in the set R, we will be getting ordered pairs which will be consisting of elements from the set A only. You are aware relation is always a subset of Cartesian product, because we will be establishing a relation from set A to set A only. That is why the elements of set R, which is relation, is an ordered pair. Okay. So a relation R in a set A is said to be empty if no element of A is related to any element of A. So from set A to set A, when the mapping is being done, the relation is defined in such a way that we are not able to relate any element of set A with the any element of set A. So that is why R comes out to be a null set. If this happens, then the relation will be termed as an empty relation. We can quickly take an example. Suppose set A is denoting, let us say, boys of class 11th. Okay. So this is set A, boys of class 11th. This is also set A, boys of class 11th. And say the relation is brother, or let us say is sister of. When I am talking about boys of class 11th, obviously if I have to establish a relation is sister of between these two sets, obviously we are not going to get any ordered pair in the set R, which is a relation. So in that case, R reduces to null set. So we can say that this relation is an empty relation because we could not establish the given relation between the elements of A with any elements of A. So you can see, as it says, if no element of A is related to any element of A, then R will be a empty relation or null relation, you can say. The next one is universal relation. A relation R is said to be universal if each element of A is related to every element of A. When we say each element of A is related to every element of A, that means the relation is defined in such a way that we are getting all the possible ordered pairs from A to A. Understood? In that case, R becomes equal to the Cartesian product of A and A. That is why it is termed as universal set. You can see if this is our set A and this is also set A, and say there are three elements in it, and as per the definition, or simply if we do Cartesian product of A with itself, then obviously every element of A is going to pair with each element of A. So this pairs with all the three elements of A. Then this second element pairs with all the elements of A. In the same way, this third element pairs with all the elements of A. Any other possible pair over here? No. You can see that we have done all the possible pairings. So if this happens, the relation is defined in such a way that we get the entire Cartesian product from A to A, then the relation becomes the universal relation. So from these two definitions, you can see one thing very easily, that when we write the subsets of Cartesian product, null set is subset of every set and the set itself is also subset of itself. So this is the set without any element and this is the set containing all the possible ordered pairs in A cross A. In between also there can be something. It may happen that relation is defined in such a way that we are not getting all possible ordered pairs but some of them. Okay, so now moving on to the third type. Okay, it says, this you need to understand very carefully. It says a relation R in a set A is called reflexive if A comma A belongs to R for all A belonging to A. So this implies what? When I say A comma A belongs to R, it means the element in the domain satisfies the given relation with itself. Okay, so whatever element you take in the given set, it should satisfy the relation with itself. Let us quickly take an example. If I take a set of natural numbers here and a set of natural numbers, obviously this is an infinite set, even this, so on. And suppose relation is R is equal to. Okay, now start doing the mapping. If the relation is defined like this, is equal to, and you have to establish this relation between the elements of natural numbers, then you will find 1 is related to 1, 2 is related to 2, 3 is related to 3, 4 is related to 4 and so on. So this is one very simplest example I have given you to make out when we can call a relation to be reflexive. So you can see every element of this set, that is natural number, is satisfying the given relation with itself. So 1 is equal to 1, 2 is equal to 2, 3 is equal to 3. So what kind of pairs I am going to get in this set? We will have a pair 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 and so on. Okay, so if this condition is met, then the relation can be termed as reflexive. So you can understand it quickly. Every element of the given set, which is A, should satisfy the relation with itself. Then it is a reflexive relation. Now the next one is symmetric. Let us see the condition for symmetric relation. For a relation to be symmetric, the condition is if you take any two elements from the given set A and you know that A satisfies the relation with B. Whatever relation is defined, if A is satisfying that with B and this condition implies that B also satisfies the given relation with A, then the relation will become symmetric. So we know A satisfies the relation with B, but we have to check whether B is also satisfying the given relation with A or not. If yes, then the relation is symmetric. Let us quickly take an example. If we say girls of class 11th and the relation is sister of. So in the class 11 you find two girls, say A and B, where I know A is sister of B. Then obviously B will also be a sister of A. So the relation becomes symmetric. Or let us take another example. Let me randomly make some lines over here. Fine, these are many lines I have drawn. And I establish, and infinite more lines can be drawn on this plane. Let me establish a relation here. The relation is perpendicular to. Okay, say this is L1, this is L2, this is L3, we can take L4, L5. So all the lines I have named. If I take any two lines, say L1 I am taking and L2. These are two lines on this plane which are satisfying the relation which I am naming as is perpendicular to. So I know L1 is perpendicular to L2. Same is maintained between L2 and L1 also. If L1 is perpendicular to L2, that will imply L2 is also perpendicular to L1. So the relation becomes symmetric. Okay. Now I'll give you one example which cannot be a case of symmetric. If we say all the students of class 11th, boys as well as girls, and if I take two children, one boy and one girl, who are satisfying the relation is sister of. So A is a girl, B is a boy, and the relation is sister of. So we can say A is sister of B, but otherwise it won't be true. We cannot say B is sister of A because B is denoting a boy and A is denoting a girl. So this is an example where the relation does not come out to be symmetric. This way it is true, but this way it is not coming out to be correct. So the relation may or may not be symmetric. Only under the condition that this is satisfied, the relation will be termed as symmetric. Then see the third case. Suppose you have three elements A, B and C. Any three elements you have taken from the set A, and there are two pairs which are satisfying the given relation or which belong to the set relation. That is, A is satisfying the defined relation with B and B is also satisfying the defined relation with C. If these two conditions imply that A is satisfying the same relation with C, then we can call them transitive. Okay. So we may meet this condition, we may not meet. In case we are getting this condition fulfilled, then the relation will be transitive, otherwise not. Let us take another example. Suppose these are three lines. Purposely you can see I have made parallel lines. Okay. So these are three lines on this plain whiteboard, you can say, and let me randomly make some more lines also. So if you look at these 5 lines I have drawn, I can locate 3 and term them as parallel to each other. So let us go to this example. L1, L2, L3. They are belonging to all the lines drawn on this plane. And the relation is parallel to. R can be defined as is parallel to. Okay, now satisfying this relation, we can find two pairs. We know L1 is parallel to L2. We know L2 is parallel to L3. So this also implies L1 is parallel to L3. So see, the condition is fulfilled. What are we saying? If A is satisfying the given relation with B and B satisfies the same relation with C, and that implies A satisfies the given relation with C, then the relation is transitive. So here it is met. You can see L1 is parallel to L2 and L2 is parallel to L3. We know this. So obviously this will imply L1 is parallel to L3 and our result becomes transitive relation. Okay. Then see the next term. It is equivalence relations. Now a relation R in the set A will be an equivalence relation if it satisfies all these three. It should be reflexive, it should be symmetric, it should be transitive. Then we can call that relation as the equivalence relation. So these are the type of relations we will be going through now.